all over the building. We love you today. We thank God for each and every one of you. Amen. Appreciate you. I want to thank God for his goodness tonight. Thank you, Jesus. What's that song that Eddie sang? What's that song? No. You made a way. I know that was false spirit. Eddie just come sing this verse. You know, we in church, right? If you didn't come to have church, just stay at home. You made a and we're standing here only because you made, you move mountains, you cause walls to fall with your power. For miracles, and there is nothing that's impossible, and we're standing here only because you made. And we're standing here only because you made. And Lord, we're standing here only because you made. And we're standing here only because you made. But then we're standing only because you made. Lord, and we're standing only because you made. Lord, we're standing here 23 and 7. We love you today. We thank God for each and every one of you being here. Truly, we had a wonderful time in Tylertown for those of you that didn't make it. Amen. We truly had an experience. And I appreciate God. I want to give special thanks to my praise teams and coming up here just doing what you had to do. Small little number, but big and hard. All it takes is hard. It take a heart. You can just take 2 or 3 people to do what you have to do. Say that. And we thank God for all of you, and those of you that made your way. My ushers, they commended me on the ushers and all of the men in black and all the musicians. They said musicians, one little section was nothing but musicians. They had heard that different ones was coming, and they just sat over there and just listening, taking video snaps and all kinds of stuff, just enjoying the service. And we just really thank God for all of you and your prayers. Those of you who didn't make it, I know you were praying for me. I want to say to those of you in the viewing audience, those of you looking at this live stream, amen, we're going to set up where you can hear what I got to say. But right now I'm saying that those of you that would like to support this ministry, this live stream is going throughout the world. People are listening and looking. And some people don't even go to church anymore, but this is their church, this live stream. So it would only be fair to you and a blessing to you if you support this ministry by sending your offerings, your tithes, amen, to keep this ministry going, keep it afloat, keep it moving in God. And if you would like to give, you can give, amen, by your website. And our website is with PayPal is www.trumpetdesignfellowship.com. And once again, it's www.trumpetdesignfellowship.com. If you would like to send it through the PayPal, through the website. If not, if you would like to mail it in, you can mail it to P.O. Box 1267, Gulfport, Mississippi 39502. Once again, that mailing address is P.O. Box 1267, Gulfport, Mississippi 39502. Amen. And so one of the things you want to do is you want to sow seed where seed's going to grow. And always remember, God gives seed to the sower. So when you sow in the right place, you're bound to get a blessing, especially with the right attitude. And if you're being fed, you don't eat at McDonald's and pay Burger King. You should pay where you're getting fed. So we love you today. And it ain't about money, but it takes money to send the gospel out and tent revivals and radio broadcasts and all the different programs that we have to reach out to the different ones. We love you. Amen. Thank God for all my elders and ministers. We thank God for each and every one of you. Just going and she trying to take up. That's Hazel. Got a little soundproof earmuffs on me, aren't you? Dr. Beavers. I want her to be able to hear when she gets 6. They be wide open. I want my baby to hear me when I say, "Come here, Hazel." She overprotective now. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. She won't share with nobody. Just, you're jealous. I know she'll get jealous too. She won't say nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. One of the grandbabies is something about them. Is something different about your grandchildren. Say amen. You love your children, but your grandbabies is like a crown. They're like a crown. I was thinking yesterday at the funeral, and Mother Frederick's mother, she had 6 children. And from the 6 children, she had 15 grandchildren. And from the 15 grandchildren, she had 67 great-grandchildren. And from the 67 great-grandchildren, she had 62 great-grandchildren. Great-great-grandchildren. And ain't no more how many other ones that she had. They just stopped talking. They called her a queen. Everybody lived 103 years old with all that going on was a queen. Say amen. And really, that Baptist preacher preached yesterday. Say amen. He did a wonderful job. And amen, it was really great homegoing. Folk gonna cut up no matter what happens. I tell them all the time, that's amazing how you can go to the wake and be sitting around the body talking. and talking, and right there at the wake is talking. The wake, nothing say the word wake.
Wait.
You know what a wake was? A wake was when you go where the body was the day before the funeral, and you do all your screaming and hollering, hoping to do what to the individual? Wake them up. So they should have did all that screaming and hollering at the wake. They get to the funeral and just woo, screaming, falling down, just all kind of stuff. People be falling out that don't even know it. I guess they think they're on camera. But I mean, it's the way it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? But then there's some folks that got a reason to weep and cry when you lose a loved one of that sort. He's been around 103 years old. That's amazing. Say, man, she was sweet. She had a quiet smile. Those of you that knew her, she was a quiet smile. I get finished preaching. She said, baby, you preach so hard. Take care of yourself. Say, man, she said they put set her back in the back of the church. But she's just blessed, sweet lady. To the book of Proverbs, beloved, chapter 23 and verse. Let's start at verse 6. He said, eat not the bread. Eat not the bread of him that hath an evil eye. Look, somebody said an evil eye.
An evil eye.
Don't eat the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither be desirous of his daily meats. But as he what? As he what? As he thinketh in his heart, so is what? So whatever he thinking is what he's going to be. He said, as he thinketh in his heart, so as he eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. To the book of Proverbs, chapter 18. Actually, what? Let's get that one. Look at Proverbs, hold on a second. Thank you, Jesus. Don't you love me today? Proverbs 30 and 32. Bear with me today. We just preaching. I'm trying to preach myself into glory. Anybody want to go to glory with me?
Amen.
Amen. I tell them all the time. McCoy, don't fuss no more like that. I ain't got nothing to fuss about. I'll fuss you. Give me something to fuss about. He said, no, go on. But I don't fuss. I'm through fussing. I want to live right now. Look at today and say, I want to live. You know, as a parent, you're going to fuss. Parents? Raise your hand, parents that fuss. I don't care if the book is 70 years old, you'll fuss at it. Get your slow self. Man, why are you so slow? You'll find something to fuss about, won't you? Pick your teeth up and put it back in there. Leave them things all on the coffee table. I got people coming over here. You're going to find something else. To the book of Proverbs, chapter 30 and verse. You ready as a church?
Amen.
In verse 32. If thou hast done foolishly, and lifted up yourself. Look at somebody say, if you've done foolishly and been proud. Something about pride going to make you do something you ain't got no business doing. Pride will always make you step ahead of God. And that's what gets us in trouble. He said, though I walk in the flesh, I war not after the flesh, for the weapons of my warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that what? Exalts herself against the knowledge of God. But got Eve in trouble, and she wanted to be smarter than God. God had already told her that he made her in the image and gave him dominion. And so she going to let the devil mess with her emotions, the lust of her eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Point to this flesh and say, one of the characteristics of this stuff.
One of the characteristics of this stuff.
And it's the most dangerous characteristic.
The most dangerous characteristic.
It's called pride.
It's called pride.
But the Bible said, if thou hast done foolishly and lifted up thyself, Or if thou hast thought, look at somebody say thought, evil, lay thine hand upon thy what?
Mouth.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Why I got to put my hand on my mouth? Because I thought something. Why I got to lay my hands on my mouth? Because I thought something. To the book of Matthew chapter 12 and verse 34. Matthew 12 and 34. I won't have a few more scriptures. We'll be out of here. Matthew 12 and 34. Now with me. I'm really praying for the young people. It's the spirit that's getting on young people, making them real rebellious. It's like, this is a generation where the Bible said the children curse their parents. And the Bible said he that curses mother and father's candle going to be put out. These children that curse their mamas and daddies out, man, like it ain't nothing, but you'll die like that. Children obey your, let me show you scripture, and you have to listen because y'all think that children obey your parents, but he said obey your parents in the Lord. Amen. That's why you got a lot of people, their lives are cut short, their spiritual lives. They don't stay in God long because they don't obey their parents in the Lord. You understand? You have to obey your parents in the Lord. When somebody tell you something, you have to be obedient because your days will be short. See, folks' days are short now. Folks don't stay saved no time no more. They still go to church, but I'm talking about really saved. You don't find folk really saved no more. Folk is not saved like that no more. Folks are in church. They do what they want, dress like they want, act like they want, speak like they want, say what they want, but they're not really saved. Because when you're really saved, then you'll understand a few details that, number one, you bought with a price and you're no longer your own. Number two, you have to realize you're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people. You're different. And then you have to realize that you got to be ye holy, for I am holy. You have to have my characteristics. He made us partaker of his DNA. He don't live any kind of way. And the Bible said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, for all that is in the world is the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but of the world. And the Bible said, and the world passed away. It's not of the Father. He said, but the world passed away and the lust thereof. But they that do the will of God shall abide for how long? See, what people do nowadays, they feel like you can live any kind of way you want to live, but there's a stipulation to live for God, and most folks don't even deal with that no more because, number one, they don't believe. People don't believe. They just don't believe the wrath of God is going to come upon the children of disobedience. They just don't believe. I mean, sit around and it's something how you can watch people being ate up by cancer. You can see people being ate up. I mean, all kind of hideous stuff, losing their mind, and I mean, stuff that's happening to them, and just demons taking control of them. I mean, see me when I get them phone calls and people screaming and hollering. And these are people that once loved God, speaking in tongues, operating and functioning in God, and now they're screaming and tormenting and can't sleep at night and stuff. And see, many, you ain't got to say, I don't need but one phone call, but I get multitudes of phone calls of people I warn them, don't play with the devil, don't play with him. But church folk, especially the older ones, we go fooling around with this junk, go relax, and you don't relax. They'll never take your dukes down. You understand? You let them kill the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Gergesites and the Anakims, but he never would let them destroy the Jebusites. He said, I don't ever want you to learn to forget war. I want you to always have something in your flesh that's going to keep you praying, keep you with your dukes up. See, woe be unto them that are these in Zion. See me? I'm not relaxing. I don't care. Listen, if I get a good day, I'm going to get worried because, see, I know that the devil's thinking of some kind of strategy to come in some kind of way. So I'm digging down every day. I got some prayers in reserve. I got some stockpile of weapons. I'm praying, God, keep me, hold me. Don't let nothing sneak up on me, Lord. Don't let me be wrong and I think I'm right. Don't let me be around wrong and think that the wrong is right. See, you can be wrong and know you're wrong, but if you get around a bunch of wrong folk, you'll start thinking your wrong is right. Amen. See, if you get around a bunch of wrong folk that then backslid and walk out of God's word, let me tell you something. You walk out of God's word, you ain't going to last long. You be having church, folks shouting and jumping, but when you step out of that word, you don't step out of truth into truth. You step out of light, out of the true light into a light. See, if the Bible said Jesus Christ, the true light. So if he's the true light, then there's a false light. There's another light going to lighten up your day and make you think you're all right. But see, you're going to have to really, really stay close to God, because if you don't, you're going to get deceived. The Bible said many false prophets and false Christs shall arise, and they're going to deceive many. If it were possible, they will even deceive the very elect. But the Bible said in the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 34, he said, "Oh, people of vipers." Now, like I tell you all the time, it could be a people, but a people stops right there. But a generation is something that generates. Generation is a people that they got other folk following after them. You understand? It's not like they generate people. They generate, like I tell you, when you start your car with the power from the battery. But when you start the engine has a belt that's connected to a generator. And the generator got wires that connect from there back to the battery. So when the battery uses this juice to start the engine, get the engine started, it goes and it moves the generator, and the generator generates power to get back to the battery. But what a generator does is something that keep other things moving. You see what I'm saying? See, when you got generations and generational curses and generational stuff like that, stuff that generates. You got people that generate backsliders and generate folks to compromise and generate folks to, you understand, to give up, generate folks to take down. There's people that generate it, and it just keeps it going and just goes on, and even men seduces wax worse and worse. But he said, now watch this and pay attention to it, because you have to listen. He said, "Oh, generation of vipers." Now, he didn't say generation of reptiles or generation of snakes. He said generation of vipers. If you understand the word viper, it comes from that word, short word for venomous. In other words, these are vipers. These are snakes that are not just snakes. They're poisonous snakes. These are snakes that can bite you. Notice that a snake's poison ain't in his tail. It's always in his mouth. So these are people that got some stuff in their mouth. You understand what I mean? Watch them show you up in a minute. I'm going to show you something. You're going to have to listen to me, because sometimes people get mad. Brother Cross, I ain't got time with that rip-rap and that small talk and all that stupid junk what somebody did. Listen, man, what they did to you, you ought to be got over that junk, man. Go on with your life. You know, people want to chit-chat and talk. I mean, you watch people gossip and talk. Watch them. Keep your eyes on them. Look where they be. Watch. They be in the same little group. They got, it's like just like regular, like a regiment. Like, people gonna come over your house right after they get off work. Your telephone gonna ring. You be waiting on it. They gonna call in a minute. You know that they ain't nobody going nowhere. Ain't nobody going nowhere, because they can't go nowhere, because they stuck right there with yesterday's news. I never did like day old donuts. I didn't like no junk like that. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to give me some day old donuts on big, sometimes if your mama didn't go back by the baker and they got a big old bag of day old donut. I never liked them day old donuts. I ain't never liked them day old donuts. It wasn't fresh. I didn't like them. They had a different kind of smell to them, like another texture to them. They was rubbery. You know what I'm talking about? I like that junk, that day old conversation. People just sit talking about what nobody, all that stupid. That don't mean nothing. But watch, I'm going to show you something. Oh, generation of vipers. And I'm not fussing. I'm preaching. Trying to help you get healed. Oh, generation of vipers, how can ye be an evil? What? Wait a minute now, you can't be evil and speak. You cannot be evil. The Bible said, eat not the bread of him that hath a fast heat. What his eye got to do with his thinking? The Bible said these words. How can you be an evil, speak good things out of the abundance of the what? Out of the abundance of the heart, what? The mouth does what? The mouth speaketh. Is that right? To the book of James, chapter 3, verse 1. James 3 and 1. One other last scripture after this, and I have to quote the rest. I'm trying not to read a lot of scriptures, because some of you preachers, unless I'm teaching, and some of you preachers just, you do everything I do sometimes, and it's not always good, because some folk will wait on me, but they won't wait on you. Say amen. They'll wait on me, but they won't wait on you. Sometimes you read, you be the lost, and then read by the time you get finished preaching, you done lost everybody. to the book of James, chapter 3, and begin at verse 1. Please pay attention. I want you to listen to me real carefully. He said, my brother, be not many masters. Don't be too many teachers. Don't be an instructor. Don't be always trying to tell other folk what to do. You got some folk always trying to instruct everybody else, and they can't instruct themselves. Like I tell them, you understand, you can stand real tall if you can stand to be corrected. See, some folk know they can tell you everything, prophesy to you and tell you how wrong you is, but you can't tell them nothing. Sometimes people say stuff to Brother McCoy. They do stuff. Sometimes people do stuff out of envy. Sometimes people say stuff to me out of intimidation, like to try to belittle me, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes people say stuff because they've been influenced by somebody else that don't like you, and then they ain't got the boldness to come to you, so they'll pipeline somebody else that they think is bold. Then that person will come to you and call themselves rebuking you or correcting you, right? And then you got some folk that correct you out of goodwill. They really sincere. It's like giving you a sincere correction. But me, I don't care if you try to correct me out of envy, out of intimidation, or being pipelined, somebody put you up to call yourself, or you correct me out of goodwill. Me, I'll go somewhere and get by myself, and I say, Lord, listen, if this is so, reveal it to me. Because, see, let me tell you something. See, when you get to the point where can't nobody tell you nothing, you're in the danger zone. Anytime you can't be corrected, anytime anybody say anything to you and offend you, or they don't like me, I know, no, you got to always check yourself, because first of all, you were created with a birth defect. You was created on purpose with your eyes in front of your head. So that means you cannot see behind you. First natural, then spiritual. There's a part of your body you can't see. You might have a mole with hair growing on it 2 inches long. You don't know in the center of your back. There's certain mirrors you can't see everything. You see what I'm saying? We sat back and just pat a book in the back in school, pat him on the back, and then he walked down the hall and everybody kicking him. And he wondered why everybody kicking him, but he don't realize we done pat him on the back and somebody stuck a paper on him and said, kick me. But because he can't see behind him, everybody's kicking him. He's wondering why they're kicking him, because he can't see. So that's why we're helpers one of another. In other words, you say, you got my back? You got my back? You understand what I'm saying? Am I my brother's keeper? You got my back? So if you got my back, there's some things you're going to tell me that I can't see myself. But one thing about it, don't make no difference how you correct me or call yourself, talk to me. I'm going to go check myself. I'm not going to be sitting there and they will come talk to me because I know the brothers don't like me. I'm going to stop and check myself, because see, it may be just that. Amen. But the way they told it to me, you understand, they told it out of it, and it don't make no difference. All I want to do is stay corrected. You see what I'm saying? And some people, you can't tell them nothing. You don't make no difference. Darryl McCoy, I know how to take instruction. I can sit up there. If you tell me something now, sometimes folks say stuff, and it don't be right, because they've been talked to by somebody, influenced. And sometimes people can say stuff to people and influence them and make them say something, and it don't be right. That's just the way they feel it. Say presumptuous. Say it again. Say presumptuous. Now, presumptuous is the pre means ahead of time, right? Sum is the totality. Presum is for you to be able to give a conclusion or an answer to a matter without knowing the full details or the full equation. Once again, 2 plus equals 6. How in the world is 2 plus equals 6? Now you presume that, right? You presume that 2 plus equals 6. Because see, you ain't got the full equation. See, you got to have 2 plus 4 equals 6. How you going to have 2 plus equals 6? You presume that. Let me break it down to you in English so you understand. So you called me on my phone. I didn't answer. You called me again. I didn't answer. You called me the third time. I didn't answer. Oh, that book gonna put me on his no list. That devil ain't nothing but a lie. Yeah, what kind of pastor is he? You understand? I ain't never gave him no trouble. I ain't never did nothing for him, put me on his no list. That book ain't gonna answer my phone. I'm gonna text him one more time. Text him. You don't get no answer from him. That devil ain't nothing but a lie, man. This book of him, man. And you'll tell him, I called him, he didn't call me. That book got that old called out funny spirit up on him. I bet better put me on his no list. I ain't think I'd delete him. He ain't got to call me. A week later, I stood up in the pulpit and I said, saints, I know some of y'all may have called, but Somebody stole my phone about a week ago. I didn't say nothing about it. All you feel about this big, right? Look at somebody say, presumption. You done deleted my number. You got everybody mad with me. I'm on you on my no list. I don't even have my phone. But that's presumption. And people are evil like that. People presume and don't even have the details. So much for that. But my brother, be not many masters. Don't be trying to correct and instruct anybody. Knowing that we shall receive the what? In other words, to whom much is given, much is required. And he that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is a sin. Is that right? All right? So he said, now be not many masters, but in doing so you shall receive greater condemnation. Second verse. He said, but in many things we offend. Look at somebody say all. Now to offend is like an offense. Like I got a shield, I got a breastplate, I got a helmet. That's defense. Offense is my sword. Offense is the thing that I do to somebody. Defend is to keep them from doing something to me. Offend is when I do something. So the Bible said, in many things we offend all. We hurt and damage and inflict pain on all. Y'all ready? He said if any man, he said, in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in what? In word, the same is a what? The same as a what, man? And able to bridle the whole what? He's able to get control of his whole being. I was trying to I got one more scripture that it won't hurt. The Bible said, in many things we offend all, but he whosoever does not offend in word, the Bible said the same is a what, man? To the book of Ephesians. The book of Ephesians, chapter 4. The only way. Ephesians chapter 4. And begin reading to you from verse 10. The Bible said, he that descended the same that also ascended far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some what? Some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, pastors, and teachers. For the what? Wait a minute, the Bible said, whosoever does not offend in the word, the same as a what man? For the perfecting of the saints, for the edifying, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, until we all come into the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a what? Unto a what? As we come into the knowledge of that perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of what? Last and final scripture, Matthew 5 and 48. Until we come into that perfect man. Look, somebody say we need instructors.
We need instruction.
Help us come into that perfect man. Matthew 5 and 48. Now, be ye what? Be ye therefore perfect. He said, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father where? Which is in heaven. Be ye therefore perfect. Even, look at somebody say, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, as I come before you and before these people, Lord, I'm asking you to strengthen this body. Lord, put an anointing upon me, God, you know my heart. God, you help the people, Lord, to come up higher. As you told John on the Isle of Patmos, come up hither, and I'll show you things that must come to pass. Give the people such a hunger and a thirst for this righteous life. I pray your blessings upon them tonight. God, if I ever ask you anything, I'm going to ask you for a divine miracle. Let them see you and not me. That the very words of my mouth, meditation of my heart, be accepted in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, I'm going to minister a word. I want you to listen to me carefully. The Bible said these words. Now listen, because, you know, people don't know. It's amazing how that you can preach the same thing for 120 years and people still die and go to hell. It's amazing how that the human mind and the mentality of human beings that think they're so smart that because they don't see something don't mean it ain't going to happen. But the Bible said that God said, let us make man in our own image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fowls of the air, the beasts of the field, the fish of the sea, and over every living thing that moveth upon the face of this earth. Now, God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Well, first of all, you have to understand some things, and I teach you this all the time. And this one of the things, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. My people go into captivity because they have no knowledge. See, Satan make you kill yourself. He'll make you kill yourself. He'll make you kill yourself because you don't have no clue of who you are. So we've been coming to church trying to learn about God, but that ain't what you're supposed to come to church to learn about. Because see, it ain't learn about God because what you, it don't make no difference whether you learn about God or not. It ain't going to change nothing about God because some don't believe does that make the faith of God of none effect. God forbid, he can't deny himself. So we don't come to learn about God because God don't have no problem. We need to learn about ourselves. And the way you learn about yourself is to learn about God. You understand? I'm learning about God just because I really need to learn about myself. And the more knowledge I get about myself, the more dominion and power and victory that I walk in, right? Because I'm made in the image and likeness of God. First of all, let me get the knowledge. God's not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man he's got to repent. God is not a man. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. For what is the spirit? He said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Then he broke it down in plain English, well, to make it simple. Like he said, the word of God is so simple that a fool cannot err. It was Paul that said, I marvel that you are so soon removed from the simplicity of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, it's so simple now. I'm getting ready to break it down and make it real simple. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God now. So when you were made in his image and his likeness, God is a spirit. So when he made us a word. So even God himself said, he said, a body thou hast prepared me. Now, Jesus was the express image of the Father. You understand? God is a spirit, so you can't see spirits, but God formed the body. God said, a body that has prepared me now. He come down through 42 generations and got a body from a virgin, right? And lived in that body. Jesus said, it's not I that do the work, but the Father that lives within me. He said, the words that I speak, it's not I, but the Father that liveth in me that speaketh these words, right? You understand what I'm saying? I testify not of myself, but it's the Father that testifies of me, right? So it's the Spirit of the living God that lived inside of a body. The Bible said, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things become new. To wit, this is what I want you to know, that God was in Christ reconciling the world back unto himself. Now, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So God is a word, right? Now watch this here. God said, let there be, and it was. God spoke, and he said. God said, and it happened. God said, he saw. God spoke, and everything moved into position. Now, he turns right back around and said, we were made in his image and his likeness. We take on his characteristic. We take on, he have made us partaker of his divine nature. Now, the Bible said these words. He said, my words shall not go forth out of my mouth and return unto me void, but it shall accomplish the thing which I sent it out to do. Now, the Bible said that on the seventh day, God ended all of his works that he had made, the earth and the host thereof, right? So God created the heavens and the earth and the host. He created the spirits, the angels. He created angels. Now, watch what I'm trying to show you. On the seventh day, God sat. He rested from all of his labor. So from that point on, you don't read where God's working. God's not working. Everywhere that you read about God, 1 Kings chapter 22, McCoy said, I saw the Lord sitting on his throne. It was Isaiah that said, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and the host of heaven standing. It was John on the Isle of Patmos said, I saw him that sat with a book
in his hand. He was always setting. He was always setting every time. And then Stephen looked up when he was being stoned. And he said, I saw Jesus standing on the right hand of the Father. He said, he that overcome will I get to sit with me in my throne as I sat in my Father's throne. So always God's folk should be setting. When the Bible said that God has raised us up and made us sit together in heavenly places, right? So but sitting means that I'm not working, I'm not like Mama said, get up off that seat, get up off your do nothing self. You know, said another word, you understand what I mean? Get up off your, you know, see. But anyway, but you mean get up, because just sitting there, you ain't doing nothing, right? But watch the wisdom of it. Every time you read about God, either seraphims, it was Isaiah said, I saw the seraphims that had 6 wings, twain to cover the head, twain to cover the feet, and with twain they did fly, right? McCoy said, I saw the angel standing on his side. Well, the Bible said that God spoke, and he said, not to which one of his angels said he at any time, sit thou on my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. He said, no, but are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister unto them that are heirs of salvation? What are you saying, brother preacher? Angels are created to obey everything. Everything is created to obey God. Every single thing is created to turn out. Everything is created to obey God. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything has to bow down. Watch what I'm showing you. He said, let every soul be subject to the water, unto the higher power. But there's no power but of God. When all powers that be are ordained of God, right? So everything has to bow down to God. Can the vessel say unto the potter, why hast thou made me thus? But the potter got power over the clay. So everything that God made, you understand, made obeys him. It was made to obey him. It was subject unto him. So when God made man in his own image and after his likeness, you understand, he gave him dominion over the fowls of the air, the beasts of the field, the fish of the sea, and over everything that moves, right? So Adam had power over everything. All he had to do was speak, and everything obeyed him. And y'all listening to me here? He had the power. All he had to do was speak a word, and everything bowed down, because he was made in the image and likeness of God. So everything is made to obey God. Every single thing. You, me, animals, everything is made, whether we like it or not. You understand what I'm saying? You got to realize that you ain't got the power over nothing, but it's all God. In him we live, we move, and we have our being. The steps of a man are ordered by the Lord. The goings of a man are of the Lord. How then can we understand our own way? It's not in man to direct his own steps. Is that right? He worketh in you both the will and the to do according to his good pleasure. God is in total control. He makes some vessels of honor, some of dishonor. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and whom I will. You understand? I condemn it. You understand? I judge. You see what I'm saying? I bring judgment on whoever, but whoever I have mercy, on whom I'll have mercy, and whom I will, I harden it. You ain't got nothing. Listen, that's why today, when I come up in here, when I walk through that door, I bow my head and say, Father, forgive me, Lord. I want to go in here. I don't want to offer up strange fire. I don't want to come in your presence, God. I said, I'm not like scared tormentor, but I always want a reverence, God. I want to reverence the anointing. I want to reverence the glory, because you are the awesome God. You are powerful God. You are terrible God. And it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So when I come into his presence, I'm coming in with the reverence, but I'm saying I'm going to come in. You understand? It didn't have to be this way. You understand? I didn't have to be chosen from the foundation of the world. I didn't have to, but I'm bound to give thanks always with the God. You understand that God from the beginning had chosen me unto salvation. But it had nothing to do with my mama, my daddy, a prayer meeting. You understand what I mean? It was in the infinite mind and wisdom of God. So when I come into the house of God, I don't come in here like God owed me something. Y'all come up in here like God owes you. They have to beg you to praise you. You ain't got to beg me. You ain't got to beg me to give my all. You don't know what my body's going through. You don't know. I've been revival after revival. I've been carrying people's loads. People are dying. I'm sitting right now waiting on my phone. You understand? People taking their last breath. People just close to death. You understand? Amen. They're sitting in the hospitals now waiting on people. And I'm sitting carrying families. I got people losing their mind. I got people's children going crazy. All of this stuff, but you don't understand. I don't have a complaint. I don't have a murmur. I don't have nothing. You understand what I'm doing? I am so glad that I can walk in the house of God and grab a microphone for the second time today and be able to give God glory. Do you understand? Because I could have been a vessel fit for destruction. I could have been a vessel of dishonor. You understand what I'm saying? I could be somewhere in an intensive care. I could be getting ready to go to court. Amen. Setting up in lockup waiting to get a life sentence. You understand what I mean? I could be somewhere in a padded cell about to lose my mind. You understand what I mean? I could be somewhere in a corner with a pistol, get ready to put it up to my temple, call myself trying to end it all. You understand what I mean? Oh, but today I'm thankful to the Lord that I was able to drive all the way to Slidell and let God use me and give him praise and then turn around and drive myself, me and Sister Daughter, back down the highway and jump out and get in the back room and then be able to come out and put that guitar back on my shoulder and not give God not a complaint. You know why? Because I'm so glad that God chose me from the foundation of the world that I should be saved. So I'm not going to come in here like God owe me nothing. God don't owe me nothing. God done gave me everything. I'm walking in the church today as a debtor. Some of y'all got to beg you to lift your hand. Got to beg you to raise your hand. You ain't got to beg me to do nothing. But instead of I come up in here, I come up in here as a debtor. I owe God. Y'all better hear what I'm saying. I owe God. I owe God a praise. If I don't do nothing but praise him for letting me walk in the house, if I don't do nothing but be like David, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. When they used to sing a song that the Lord, they don't believe that the Lord hath allowed us together one more time. If it had not been for the Lord, you wouldn't be sitting in your pew right now. You could be one of those walking up and down the street on crack right now. You could be one of those that's crying in a dark vacant house saying, oh my God, I wish I could be back in church. You could be sitting there. All of the stuff you done did, but been up, down, in, out. Let us say the name, but God can have mercy. Look at all the chances that some of you that God done gave you, the messed up, let us say, walked away from God, but God loves you so much. Went to the lowest hellhole to grab you, bring you back. Let us say the name, some of you should have lost your mind. Some of you should have been dead. But God went out and grabbed you once again and gave you another chance. Anybody here today beside Darryl McCoy, but God then gave another chance. I'm not talking about a second chance. I done had so many chances. How many today done got another chance? And if you got another chance, you owe that man a praise. If God done gave you another chance, you owe him a few hallelujahs. You owe him a few thank you, Jesus. If God healed your body, you owe him a few glory to God. If God made a way, if you said it, if God then kept your mind, then you know you should have lost it. There ought to be some hosannas. There ought to be some mighty gods. There ought to be some everlasting fathers. You understand what I mean? Ain't nobody got to coach me to pray too much. Ain't nobody got to coach me to praise. Ain't nobody got to coach me to praise it. Ain't nobody got to coach me to praise it. You understand what I'm saying? I said ain't nobody got to coach me to praise it. Not nobody. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't got to beg me. You ain't got to beg but they'll McCoy to do nothing. You understand why? Because when I sit around and I think about just a few days ago, about 6 days ago, I turned 64 years old and I'm sitting around, you understand what I mean, with a body. Let us say that's going on and doing what it got to do. Let us say medicine free, pain free, sickness free. If I get a pain, I'm still pain free. Let us say because trouble can't last. Because I just believe God. Y'all don't care what I'm saying. When I owe that man, I owe him every ounce, every fiber, every nerve. And I'm going to give God everything. I ain't coming up in here half step, in everything I do, if I sing this with everything I got, if I read this with everything I got, if I pray this with everything I got, I'll be the preacher in an hour and a half and get on my knees and pray. You understand? Like it's the last prayer I'm praying, because it just may be the last prayer I'm praying. But when I go down, I want God to know that I gave you every ounce of me, every moment of me. You understand what I'm saying? You got to listen to me. You're made in the image and likeness of God. And Satan knows that. He said, my word shall not go out of my mouth and return unto me void, but it shall accomplish the thing which I sent it out to do. Have I not said it? Have I not said it? Shall I not do it? Have I not spoken it? Shall I not bring it to pass? Have I not said it? Shall I not do it? Have I not spoken it? Shall I not bring it to pass? I see something the devil knows. He knows something about you that you don't know, because you don't know who your daddy is. You don't know your DNA. You don't know your power. You don't know your power. You don't know where your power lies. Samson's power was in his hair. Your power is not in your hair. Your power is somewhere else. You understand what I mean? Prophet, wise man Solomon grabbed it. He said, death and life is in the power of your tongue. You understand what I mean? I give you power. Do you understand? I give you power over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall my enemies hurt you. I'm giving you power. You understand? I'm giving you a word over everything the devil does to you. You got a power. You can change your circumstances. And see what the devil does to us. The devil wants us to get in powwows. He wants us to get in gossiping committees, lying committees, backbiting committees. He wants to get you in something to divert you from the true and the living God. The Bible said the promises of God in him are yea and not nay. You understand what I mean? Let your conversation be yea or nay. Anything beside that becomes evil. In other words, communicate with them that labor in the word. Let your conversation be in the heavens. You understand what I mean? Let it be in the heavens. Let's speak according to the word of God. You understand what I mean? Let God be true and every man be a liar. In other words, I want you to change. You know, when we Nicodemus, you understand? I know you're a man of God, Jesus. He said, Nicodemus, listen, Father. I know you're a Pharisee of Pharisees. I know you're a stock of Israel. He said, but Nicodemus, you must be born again. Nicodemus said, what do you mean? Can a man go back in his mother's womb a second time? He said, no, Nicodemus. Was born of the flesh. His flesh was born of the spirit and spirit. He said, except you be born of the spirit and of the water, you shall in no wise enter the kingdom of God. In other words, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. You got to take on another nature. When your daddy, your forefather named Adam, ate of another tree, he changed his spirit. His spirit changed, his conversation changed, and he went from yea to nay. He went from yea to nay. When God made him, the promises of God in him are yea and not nay. Yes, yes, I'm healed. Yes, I'm blessed. Yes, I'm highly favored. Yes, yes, yes. But when he ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it was no, I'm not well. It's no, I don't feel good. It's no, I don't believe I can do it. It's no, I don't think I can overcome it. No, I don't think I have enough power. Oh no, you understand? I don't know if I can withstand all the voodoo and witchcraft. But when you was in God, walking in the promises of God, the promises of God was yea and not nay. The Bible said, great peace of all they that love thy law, and nothing shall offend you. The word of God is a strong tower, and they that run into it shall be saved. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and they that run into it shall be saved. What is his name? Y'all don't hear me what I'm saying. It just ain't Jesus, it's more than that. The Bible said the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. He was a word. You understand what I mean? He had a name, but no man knew but himself, and his name was called the Word of God. In my name shall you cast out devils. In my name you want to take up serpents and if you drink any deadly thing that shall not hurt you. In my name, you understand, you will lay hands upon the sick and the sick shall recover. In my word, your power's in the word. Death and life life is in the power of your tongue. You understand what I mean? He said, I sent my word and healed you. I cast out devils with the word. See what the devil wants you to do? He wants you to get in a bunch of junk. You understand what I mean? I don't want it. I want to get into the word of God. I want to communicate with them that live in the word. Evil communication corrupts good manners. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, the mother folk in the alley. You better tell them, and when you got to make a separation, because I don't need you to change my speech. I don't need you to change my speech, especially after I've been born again. See, before I was born again, I taught according to the ways of the world, according to the ways of the Gentiles. I said I couldn't make it. I said I was sick. I said I was broke. I said my marriage ain't gonna work. I walked according to the Gentiles. But now that I'm been born again, I got a whole other conversation. I done took on the DNA. I done took on the DNA. My daddy is a word. And it ain't just any kind of word. He's a yay word. He's a word that say, I'm not on the bottom. I'm not on the tail. I'm not broke. I'm not sick. I'm not down and out. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to understand, if the devil make you sick and you say I'm sick, you got a double whammy. You understand what I mean? You got a double whammy. If the devil come to you and make you sick, you know what you need to do? Talk back your daddy. Call those things to be not as though they were. Let the devil know Abraham, when God told him I'm going to give his son, the Bible said Abraham, he said, who against hope, believe in hope. That man went against everything expected. People say, at that age, you expect to die. At that age, you expect to fill out your will. But Abraham had a faith. But said, I got a faith that goes against that. I got a hope to say, I'm not going to die, but I shall live. That I may declare the works of the Lord. You got to believe. You got to take that word. What God said, what did he say? You understand me? God didn't tell me I would die. God told me I would live. God told me whosoever keepeth my saying shall never die. He told me, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, but instead of be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that the thing which he said shall come to pass. He shall have whatsoever he say. Well, Brother McCoy, people are dying. People are dying. I said, well, listen, you got to understand. There's some people dying, but I'm not the killer. See, I don't understand it all. God told me if I'm praying for something more than 3 times, back up because I'm doing it. Don't nothing happen. Back up because I'm doing something different. But just wait on me, because I told you have not because you ask not. I told you whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe in you shall receive them and you shall have them. But I'm praying, God. I'm praying and ain't nothing happening. He said the reason it ain't happening because I'm getting rid of, I got another happening getting rid of happen. Understand me? Somebody died. You said, God, I thought you was a healer. He said, son, I'm more than a healer. He said, you don't understand what I did. So you don't know what that person has done in their life. You don't know what kind of curse that may have been put on them. But I'm getting to save their soul. So sometimes I got to turn their body over to Satan for the destruction of their flesh, so their soul might be saved. You understand me? So it ain't gonna stop nothing. You sat around thinking that I done failed. Brother, I done gave them the greatest healing in the world. I done give them eternal life. You don't get what I'm saying? And I'm saying today, that maybe someday go by the way of the grave. That maybe someday go by the way of sickness. And you understand what I'm saying? But there's some of us that's given to walk in the power of the word. We're given to walk in the power of the word. There's some of us that the wicked one is not going to touch us. There's some of us getting to get clothed within and get clothed without. There's some of us getting to be born again. Whatsoever is born of God overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Whatsoever is born of God loveth. Whatsoever is born of God, understand, sinneth not. There's somebody getting to take on a nature. You know what I'm praying for now? I'm praying for God to clothe me with my house from on high. I got a word in me. I got a word in me. But God's going to put a word on me. You understand what I mean? Whatsoever born of God, the wicked one touches worship him, God. See, we've been conceived. We're in the womb. We're being formed and processed and developed. But there's some people getting ready to come. You understand what I mean? The Bible said the woman stood before the devil. The devil stood before the woman to devour her child as soon as it was born. But the Bible said the child was born and was caught up under God. She delivered a what kind of child? It wasn't just any kind, but a man child. You understand what I mean? There's a people getting ready to come out in perfection. They get ready to come out with full authority. You ain't seen nothing, I'm telling you. There's some people coming up on the face of this earth that's going to have his characteristics, going to have his attributes. There ain't going to be no sin. I'm getting ready to do a short work. I'm getting ready to do a quick work. I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to cut it short and righteous. You understand what I'm saying? I'm getting ready to do something real short. I'm getting ready to do a real short work. And it's going to be cut short and righteous. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't seen nothing. There's a people that ain't going to go back to sin. There's a people that ain't going to go back to making mistakes. I said there's some people getting to have the total victory. You watch what I tell you. I'm talking about the people getting to be born of God. They're going to take on a nature. They're going to get so full of that word. I'm talking about, listen, there's a people that God is giving to possess. He's going to possess them. I'm talking about in this generation, there's going to be a people that's going to be possessed. First natural then spiritual. You ain't never seen a top without a bottom, an in without an outer. You understand? It was Esau. It was Cain born first. It was Esau born first. It was Ishmael born first. You understand? Darkness was up on the face of the deep first. Elijah told the prophets of Baal and the prophets of Jezebel to go up to the mountain first. But God always give the devil first trouble. Give the devil first shot. Always send the devil first. God gonna let the devil go first. Look what the devil is doing. The devil ain't just using people. The devil possessing people. The devil taking folk over. The devil taking their mind. The devil taking their nature. The devil taking their character. I'm taking their nature. Taking a man and turning him into a woman. Taking a woman, turning her into a man. Taking their nature. He's coming and possessing her. Taking control. Making them blow their brains out. Making them alter their body. Making them put holes in their body. Holes all in their nose. He possessing her. Look at the stuff making her. Possessing her. They're going to put their children in the microwave. They're going to come and kill her. Up a bunch of people possessing her. They're going to take their vehicle and drive up on a sidewalk and kill up a bunch of folk. Just possessing her. Look at them possessing her. Got them sitting around killing people, eating them like animals. They got to kill them because they're eating people alive, possessing people. Look what the devil is doing. People are being possessed. And the Bible tells me, see, when I'm looking at what the devil doing, I'm somewhere crying. I'm saying, Lord, if he possess me. And the Bible said, the Lord whom you seek shall certainly come to his temple. And he's not just coming any kind of way. He's coming like a refiner's fire and a full of soap. He's coming like a refiner of silver, a purified gold. But instead of we giving to offer praise and pure righteousness, there's some people giving to be possessed by God. That God's going to take control of them. You understand what I mean? People so possessed that people going to do you like they did Jesus. They said, man, the man won't even eat. The man is beside himself. The man is crazy. The man that looked at him when they said eat. He was so cold-blooded. He said, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me. In other words, how I get my energy, how I get my protein, how I get my vitamins. I obey God, doing what God tell me to do. There's some people giving to walk in a realm that's giving to let God totally have his way. That's giving to say, Lord, not my will, but thy will be done. There's some people giving to get in a realm that's going to be totally possession. That's giving to say, I do always the things that please the Father. Let thy kingdom come. Let thy will be done. There's somebody today that your body get to be the tabernacle of the true and the living God. Know ye not that your body is the temple of God. I don't dwell in temples made with hands. Not only but Paul said, your body is the temple of the living God. God's going to get inside man. God's going to change your dress. God's going to change your attitude. God's going to change your friend. And you got to be willing to say, yes, Lord. You know what's wrong today? God ain't got no yes men. God ain't got no yes women. Everybody doing their own thing. But I'm saying today, Lord, yes, Lord. Yes to your will. Yes all day. Yes, Lord. Yes. Whatever you want. Yes, Lord. If you want me to just drink water, yes, Lord. Whatever you want me to do, Lord, If I go to bed at 3 o'clock and you wake me up at 5:30, yes, Lord. I wake up and say, Lord, I don't care, Lord, I'm still. My body may be a little tired, but I'm just thankful that you woke me up, Lord. I'm thankful that you thought enough of me to want me to meet you in prayer. Yes, Lord. There's somebody you don't want to talk to. There's somebody that you don't want to fellowship with. But thank God today that you want to fellowship with me, Lord. I'm so glad, Lord, that you want to talk to me this morning. And I'm thankful, Lord, that don't make no difference, Lord. You can give me an hour sleep and make it be equivalent to 8 hours. God, you can do anything. You're a miracle working God. Is there anything too hard for the true and the living God? There's a people watch me. Keep your eyes on me. My body was just wore out. My body was just messed up. But something that jumped on. Something that jumped on me. I don't care what I'm saying. You got to understand the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead shall quicken your mortal body. David said, quicken down me, oh God, according to thy will. The word of God is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword. You got to understand, he told me, he that believeth on me, as the scripture has said. What did the scripture say? He's eternal. He's the everlasting Father. He's the mighty God. He's eternal God. And if that eternal God lives in me, he's a regenerator. If he lives in me, he's a regenerator. If he lives in me, guess what he can do? He can take a tired body and make it come alive. If a man can go to a grave tomb and take a dead body that's been dead for 4 days and jump on it and make it come alive, if he could go to hell and take a man in hell and jump in a body that was in hell, I'm not talking about a man that just died, a man that done died and went to hell. He not only got in the body, he went to hell, Hell is a power. Hell is a power. Death is a power. God went to hell, past hell and death, and got in a man and come out of hell, come out of death. But he didn't come out empty-handed. We come up with their keys. We come up with their keys. We come up with the death and hell. With the keys to death and hell. We come up with the keys to death and hell. Now we're going to say, he didn't rise. He rose with all power in heaven and earth. It was given to him. Now don't hear me. You don't realize, but Jesus got up. He got up with all power. But Jesus got up. He got up with all power. But Jesus got up. He got up with all power. But today, he ended up in heaven. He ended in hell. He lives on the inside of me. I'm talking that power. Greater is he that is in me and he that's in the world. I told him, rock away. He has this treasure in earthen vessels, but the excellency of the power and be of God and not of us. I got the power. 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 I got that Holy Ghost. Now let me lift your hand and shout glory. You gotta hear me. You gotta hear me. Death and life is in the power of your tongue. You got the Holy Ghost. You got the spoken word. You got the living word. You got the dead letter. You got the dead letter. I'm not preaching the paper Jesus. I'm not counseling. I'm not preaching the paper Jesus. I'm not preaching the paper Jesus. I'm preaching the living word. You know how come, Lord? You look at me. Watch me. Look at my countenance. Watch me. Look at my body. My countenance, my stature even changes. Something about my body changes. It make it look like I got taller. You understand me? But it ain't even got nothing to do with Darryl McCoy. I ain't grown there. But listen, this anointing is big. This anointing is huge. Oh, magnify the Lord. Nobody exalt God. Nobody exalt God. Nobody magnify God. You know what I'm telling you to do? Make God big. Exalt God. Bless God. What do you mean? God ain't up there. God ain't down there. Bless God. Exalt God. Magnify God. Make the God in you bigger than cancer. Make the God in you bigger than high blood. Make the God in you bigger than witchcraft. Bigger than voodoo. Make You gotta want it. You gotta want it. You gotta want it. You gotta want it. It's gotta be in your heart. It's gotta be in your heart. Listen, you gotta hear me. You understand? You're made in my image. You're made in my likeness. You're made just traveling. You're made just like me. You understand what I'm saying? You're made and the devil knows it. So what the devil does to you, if you've done foolishly, you understand, and lifted up yourself. If you done done foolishly, you're lifting up yourself. You want to make yourself be better than me. You understand? If you done done foolishly, you're lifting up yourself. If you thought evil, this is what you better do. Put your hand on your mouth. See, the thought's one thing, but from the abundance of the heart, the mouth is going to speak. But you got to understand, you're made in the image and likeness of God. So whatever comes out your mouth, angels were made to obey you, whether they're good angels, whether they're evil angels. I created you over the devil. What is man that thou art so mindful of him? That the Son of Man, that thou wouldst even visit him. You made him a little lower than the angels, but you given him dominion over all the works of your hand. You gave him dominion of the angels. Angels obey man. So when man say I'm sick, evil angels will make you sick. When you say I'm poor, evil angels got to make you poor. When you say I can't make it, evil angels got you hold. They got to come and obey you because they're under orders. They're under orders to obey you. God made them subject to you. Angels are subject to you. Angels are subject to you. Angels are subject to you. They're heirs. They set forth to minister to you. So if you want sickness, say it. They're praying. You want poverty, they're praying. But if you want life, say it. If you want healing, say it. If you want deliverance, say it. We're me. We're me. We're me. We're God. Thinking not robbery to be equal with God. You're me. Do you understand? You are me. You're me. You're me. You are me. You are me. Whatever I am. Whatever I am. So as I am, watch. I know you don't believe. As I am, so are you. In this world, there's a people getting ready to come on the scene. God getting ready to let this thing go. See me, I don't care if folks tell me our service too long. I don't care. If that's how long God wanted. He wants to sing 25 songs. Sing. Ain't no time limit. You brothers trying to put a time limit on God. Because you don't sit around. You don't sit on instamatic microwave churches. You understand with 2 songs. But a 30-minute message, but ain't nobody regarding God. But I subject to the operation of God. But the Bible said the wind bloweth where it listens, and thou hearest the sound thereof. You don't know where it's coming or where it's going. And so are they that are born of the Spirit. They must stand for his many. Those are led by the Spirit. They are the sons of God. There's a people that will walk in the room. He said he spoke unto a woman by the name of Mary and said, Hail Mary, handmaid of the Lord, but thou shalt conceive and bring forth a child, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel. She said, how can this thing be? Seeing that I know not a man. But Isaiah prophesied and said, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bring forth a child, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel, which is interpreted God with us. Nobody can hear. God with us. Nobody can hear what I'm saying. Watch this. He prophesied that a woman was going to bring forth a child. He said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. You got to understand what I'm getting to do. First natural and spiritual. The birth of Jesus. You understand? It was a virgin birth. What do you mean? It had nothing to do with sex. It had nothing to do with humanism. It had nothing to do with man. You understand? It was only God. It was a virgin birth. He was in the world, and the world was made by him. Yet the world knew him not. The Bible said he came to his own, and his own received him not. But to his many received, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. Watch where the sons are. To them that were not born, they were born not of the flesh, not of the blood, nor of the will of man, but the standard of God. There's a people coming on the scene, and flesh ain't gonna have nothing to do with it. Blood ain't gonna have nothing to do it. Man ain't gonna have nothing to do it. It's gonna be a virgin birth. How about they look at Brother McCoy? Why you preaching so different? Why don't you preach politics? Why don't you preach economy? Why don't you preach the stuff going on? Why don't you preach about the racism? No. Only thing I'll tell you about racism, you ain't got no business hating nobody. You ain't got no business hating nobody. I ain't got no business walking with a sign. Amen. Protesting nothing. I am a protester. You understand what I mean? My life alone. I ain't even got to say nothing. He told me to let my light so shine before men that they may see my good works and glorify my Father which is in heaven. Folk don't want to hear nothing. Folk want to see it. They want to see that light. They want to see that anointing. You understand what I mean? You're made in the image and likeness of God. You're made in the image and likeness of God. You're made in the image and likeness of God. He said the servant cannot, I'm preaching God, cannot be above the master. Neither the disciple above his Lord. But they shall be as, they're going to be as the master, as the Lord. As I am, so are you in this world. I left you an example that you should follow my steps. I told you to let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ, who thought it not robbery. You can't be greater than God, but he thought it not robbery to be equal with God. To be equal with God. If you want to call him your father, then accept your sonship. If you want to call him your father, then accept your DNA. When the son of Eva, with Moses, you're going to be God under Pharaoh. Saints of God, you're going to be God to the devil. You understand? You believe that there's one God. If you do, you do well. The devil believe and they tremble. You know, that ain't for everybody. My sheep know my voice. So you're sitting around, want a name, want to be popular, want to set up, want to make a ministry, want to be wonders. I don't care about no wonder. I don't care about a mega ministry. You know what God wants? God wants a garment, and they're going to jump off of him and want to be a star. God wants somebody that he can wear you like a garment. You understand what I'm saying? He can put you on and walk out in a storm, and you'll lay on him, take you through a heat wave, and you'll lay on him, take you through a hurricane, you'll lay on him. You know what God wants? He wants somebody that'll do what he says. Somebody that say, Lord, not my will, but thy will be done. I'm saying today, I don't have no ambition. I don't have no other dream. Your dream is my dream. Your will is my will. Whatever you want, I may have to work a job now, but my ambition is to do your will, Lord. I may have to make a few clicks right now, but at the end of the day, I want you to do me with power from on high. I want that thing you told Isaiah, for rise and shine, for your light is come, and the glory of the Lord is given to be risen upon you. You know what's wrong with y'all? You done stop looking for the glory. You done stop expecting the glory. Well, why would you done lost the Holy Ghost? If you got the Holy Ghost, then it ought to be Christ in you, the hope of glory, hoping for the greater anointing, hoping for the greater power. You just got to earn it. You satisfied with speaking in tongues. You satisfied with shouting around here. You satisfied with your little parking lot prophecy. But you know what I want? I want the real nature. I want the real Holy Ghost. I want that thing you can touch the hem of my garment. I want that thing to be so on me that it run out my mouth. Get all in my spirit. Get all in my sweat. Get all in the hem of my garment. I won't even stop there. It's all in my shadow. I want that Holy Ghost to be all in my shadow. If I take my jacket off and lay it on the chair, and when you put it on, it don't make no difference what's wrong with you. How do you get healed? They don't stand up. I want the mantle of Elijah. They don't hear me. Elisha died, and when he died, they put him in a cave. And my God, a soldier, he died, got wounded, and they threw his dead body, hallelujah, in a cave where Elijah's bones was. And when the body fell among Elijah's bones, this man was dead. This man was dead. This man was dead, but his bones were still alive. He still had that Holy Ghost, the electricity. Nobody killed him, what I'm saying. When that body hit them bones, that body jumped up and lived again. You know what's going to happen? That dead bones that caused them to live. What about a living soul? What about a living soul? All things are possible when the human will believe that I can resurrect your faith. If I can get you to believe that God can do anything. If I can get you to believe that God want to live in you. That God want to walk in you. You discouraged. You can walk out at the wrong time. You can walk out at the wrong time. You done took you with a woman at the wrong time. Ghost, you got the birthright. If you got the Holy Ghost, you got the birthright. You got some on you that can regenerate. You got something in you that can regenerate. As a Holy Ghost, as a mountain, as a power, as a glory. Lift your hand. Lift your hand. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you don't understand. You sit around here, but let the devil defeat you. But let the devil talk you out. You sit up here with a bunch of outside conversation. Folk don't like you. And folk talking about you. But you understand today, I don't care nothing about that. Because I know all that live God will go suffer persecution. If they call the master of the high covenant of Beelzebub, how much more shall they call him of his household? If they lied on him, they're going to lie on you. If they persecuted him, they're going to persecute you. Y'all better kill me. But I heard him say, listen, for as many as are led by the Spirit, they're the sons of God. The Bible said we have not received the spirit of bondage of fear, a bondage again to fear, but we receive the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba Father, that our spirit bears within with his spirit, that we are the children of the Most High God, and if children, then heirs of God, and if heirs of God, joint heirs, whatever Jesus had, whatever Jesus had, whatever Jesus did, whatever Jesus did, if he went to hell and rose with all power in heaven and earth, whatever Jesus did, if he got up, hell couldn't hold him, death couldn't kill him, whatever Jesus did, y'all don't kill me, I can have it, I'm a joint heir, whatever I am, as I am, so are you in this world, y'all better kill me, if hell couldn't hold him, if death couldn't kill him, guess what, I got the Holy Ghost, when Jesus rose from the dead, you know what happened, who died, could die no more, who can't die no more, so guess what's in you, it's eternal life, you got eternal life, but what I'm trying to tell you, if you get sick, if you get weak, Holy Ghost come, Holy Ghost power, we're going to regenerate you, we're going to heal you, your miracle, they coming from Chicago, your miracle, they coming from New York, your miracle, they coming from Nigeria, your miracle is on the inside, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God, and not of man, we don't realize, greater is he that is in me, greater is he that is in me, greater is he that is in me, greater is he that is in you, greater is he that is in you. Y'all better lift your hand. God got a miracle. Put your name on it. Get your healing, get your miracle, get your deliverance, get your power, get your breakthrough, your change, I'll give it to people. Y'all better give me the change, I'll break it. Somebody get delivered, somebody get the breakthrough. Lift your hand. Today I'm free from sin, today I'm free from lust, I'm free from pride, I'm free from jealousy, I'm free from me, I'm free from me, I'm free from me. You don't loose me from me, you don't kill me. Today I'm dead, but I'm alive forevermore. I'm dead because of sin, but I'm alive because of the Holy Ghost, 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 because of the Holy Ghost. If you got the Holy Ghost, lift your hand. You got power to live right, power to walk right, power to be right. Zion! Y'all walk over to somebody and just touch. Just electrocute. electrocute. If I put a match of fire on you, if I put fire under your arm, what your arm gonna do? If I put that fire and the fire go to burn, what your arm gonna do? If I'm gonna jump, you gonna stroke you. If I put that fire under your chin, what your chin gonna be on you? If I put that fire on your neck, make it. If I put that fire on your feet,